Food forests support forest ecosystems and connect communities with nature. Trees of different sizes produce nuts and fruit, while their shade can support a variety of fresh, flavorful mushrooms, herbs, and berries. Trees also improve air quality and retain water. What are the contributions of forest to food security? Forests, trees, and agroforestry provide diverse and nutritious foods, such as nuts, oils, vegetables, leaves, flowers and honey, roots, fruits, bushmeat, fish, herbs, saps, mushrooms, tubers and insects, and feed for livestock. 2. Bioenergy for cooking and boiling water. 3. Income and employment, both formal and Welcome to Suya e-learning for food security, climate change, school feeding program, nutrition education for all. When you have bad governance and poor accountability from your local government leaders, then you are doomed to live under control of cartels and fools. We hope you subscribe to our channel YouTube at Suya Mombasa and share this links with your friends or family.
Head onto the streets. The generation of Kenyans born between 1997 and 2012, the Gen Zs, have borne the brunt of the country's slow economic growth. If a country has slow economic growth, it typically experiences higher unemployment rates, reduced income levels and decreased investments. It leads to an overall lower living standard. Over the last 10 years, between 2013 and 2023, Kenya's average growth rate has been 4.52%. This is less than half of the 10% growth rate that President Mwai Kibaki had envisaged in Vision 2030. The National Development Plan's goal was to transform Kenya into a middle-income country, providing a high quality of life to all its citizens by the year 2030. But Kenya is still far from it.
With the year 2050 creeping ever closer, the United Nations projects that by then Africa's population will have doubled. Africa currently accounts for 16% of the world's population. By 2050, a quarter of the world will be African. Africa's population is exploding. It currently accounts for roughly half the global increase, and every 2 years adds as many people as live in France. By 2100, 2 out of every 5 people on Earth are expected to be African. The United Nations projects that by 2050, Africa's population will reach close to 2.5 billion. Such a figure would mean that more than 25% of the world's population will be African. Its population growth will slow thereafter, but Africa will remain by far the largest source of growth globally. Its share of the world's population is set to reach close to 40% by the end of the century. It is estimated the current production of food will need to double by 2050 in developing countries to meet future needs. Current production is well below the levels needed to feed the population, and 2/3 of the continent rely on imports to subsidize food shortages. Africa has one of the world's fastest population growth rates. Growth models project the continent's current population of about 1.3 billion people will nearly double to 2.5 billion by 2050, and it's likely to keep growing beyond that. At the same time, malnutrition is widespread in Africa. 21% of the population faces food insecurity, and the continent is especially vulnerable to climate change. Warmer regions are already experiencing desertification, and areas of low agricultural productivity are susceptible to climate shocks from adverse weather, drought, flooding, and erratic rainfall. The combined effects of population growth and climate change raise a serious question for the continent: how will Africa feed its growing populace in increasingly unfriendly conditions? What is a food forest farm? A school farm can be a magical place where students come to learn about growing food to develop practical skills with real-life farmers. The students work beside becoming future farmers, learning to grow and harvest food. The food from the farm goes toward school meal programs, community food programs, and other farm-to-plate opportunities. The goal is to help transform underutilized school grounds into learning environments that can produce nutritious food for students and their families. Students get hands-on learning education, job skills training, and improved mental health and education outcomes. We have 700,000 acres under irrigation at the moment. By 2032, we want to take it to 1.8 million acres to make sure we sustainably feed our population, President Ruto.
I was particularly, challenged by your father, Ashu, of Mombasa Cement. When I was elected, he came to see me. He asked to see me, and I invited him, and we had a chat here. And he told me, Mr. President, I want to help you in Galana. I want to grow food. I see I feed many people, and he does in Mombasa. I feed many people, and I want to participate in food production. So I told him, Ashu, you're most welcome to this space. Please go ahead and participate in food production. You cannot believe what that great Kenyan did. He left my office, went to Galana, and invested, I think, between 3 and 5 billion shillings. He has built 11 dams. He has done an amazing job. So when I got to hear what he had done, and he had no papers, nobody had given him a piece of paper or a lease. He just went there and said, the president has allowed me to do food production. And he went ahead to do it. So when it was brought to my attention and the enormous job that he had done, I saw a person with passion to change the lives of ordinary people. That he was not even patient to wait for paperwork to be done. He was in a hurry to produce food for the most needy people because he is in that space. I see what he does. So I asked my office now to look for him so that we can regularize the paperwork for him. And I even got him some people to help him to do the irrigation because, he's a cement person. So food production is not his forte. So we are now organizing, and I'm looking forward to working with the family, organizing so that we can get you people who can help you with irrigation so that the great investment put in place in Galana by this great Kenyan benefits the food production capacities of our nation. That was phenomenal. That speaks to, truly patriotic citizens of our country. Let me also say that as we celebrate Diwali, and as we celebrate what brings us together, what unites us as a nation, and as we think about the future, I was particularly touched by the performance of our children. The children that performed here.
Galana Kulalu Food Security Project is located in the coastal region within Kilifi and Tana River counties, situated about 105 kilometers northwest from Malindi town off the Malindi-Voi Road. The area borders Tsavo East National Park to the east, and it is accessible through the Malindi-Tsavo Road. The project involves development of physical infrastructure for viable and economic utilization of the natural resources available within or accessible to the area making up the Galana Kulalu ranches, including, but not limited to, water storage, conveyance and distribution, irrigation, livestock production, aquaculture road network, land development, ecotourism among others. It consists of various enterprises including maize, sugarcane, horticulture and orchards, dairy and beef ranching, fisheries, tourism and recreation, processing industries and human settlement. The 7 shillings, 5 billion Galana Kulalu food security project, which covers 1.75 million acres of land, was begun by the government 7 years ago but would later stall. The project began in what the Jubilee government said was aimed at improving food production in the country. To expand Kenya's potential in combating hunger and malnutrition, 1.0 million acres were set aside for Galana Kulalu irrigation project. Specifically, the plan was to put 500,000 acres under maize, 200,000 acres under sugarcane, and raise beef and game in 150,000 acres, and horticulture, orchard, and dairy animals each to be allocated 50,000 acres. The project is to contain water storage and utilization of the available water and other natural resources to ensure economically, socially, and environmentally viable crop, livestock and fisheries enterprises alongside ecotourism activities. Project purpose: to promote national food security and enhance livelihoods for the local communities. Project challenges: the main challenges at the Tana Delta include Tana River aversion causing water shortage to the farm and rehabilitation of canal infrastructure and flood protection dikes. What are the benefits of River Tana project? Revenue generation for the authority. Bridge the white rice supply shortfall and save the country foreign exchange. Restore water supply for domestic use and livestock production to 8 villages of 1,662 households with a population of 8,600 people. Restore water supply to Lower Tana River village irrigation schemes. Kenya, Mombasa County is planning to put 10,000 acres under irrigation to boost food production. The move will also diversify agriculture to include fishing and livestock production. The agriculture, livestock and fisheries docket plans to put more acres under irrigated agriculture, introduce hybrid local, kienyeji, chicken farming and rabbit rearing as well as mariculture and aquaculture. Beginning this financial year, we will put 10,000 acres under irrigation to boost food production for 1,000 farmers in Mwakiranj and Dongo areas, explained Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries Development County Executive Antonin Jaramba. He noted that the docket was allocated 319 million shillings against 1.2 billion shillings budget, in line with the Maputo Convention, which recommends 10% of the budget, but noted that several projects would still be rolled out. The County Assembly has passed a 12 billion shillings budget for the current financial year ending in June next year. He noted that the development budgetary allocation for agriculture in the county this financial stands at 29 million shillings, while fisheries, which has a huge potential, will get 76.7 million shillings. Meanwhile, the County Assembly has approved 8.36 billion shillings for recurrent expenditure and 3.8 billion shillings for development expenditure. A. Accelerated programs to significantly increase food production in addition to other interventions to reduce the cost of living. B. The need to expand existing job creation programs to create new intervention to address unemployment in order to absorb thousands of unemployed youths into gainful work. C. The necessity for a public conversation on innovative, prudent, transparent, and accountable use of public resources, along with people-friendly mechanisms for domestic resource mobilization and reducing public expenditure. The importance of constituting a more inclusive government that unlocks the potential of citizens from all sectors to drive national transformation. The study results showed that majority of the respondents, 80% and 82%, felt that leadership and ethics affects governance. Has a greater effect on the governance in the counties, while 20% felt that leadership has a small effect on the governance in the county. The study found out that majority of both ethics, 68%, and political alienation, 78%, affects governance. The study concludes that training, ethics, attitude, political alienation, and leadership affects governance. Thus the study recommends that there is need for county and national government to provide training to staff and establish mechanisms that can promote attitude, ethics, and leadership.
Standing success story. Thank you very much. In Zimbabwe, we have adopted basic philosophy, which is village philosophy. One, we say a country must be ruled by the people of that country. Two, a country must be developed by the people of that country. Three, a country must eat what it kills. That is village wisdom. Now, in Zimbabwe, we have problems of food insecurity, and we said, how much food do we want per year to feed our country? We know we need about 2 million metric tons of grain. So we say, because there is climate change, how many hectares of land can we put under irrigation to produce the 2 million plus metric tons to feed the nation? And we determine how much yield does a hectare have. Once you've done that, you now know how many hectares you must put under irrigation to achieve the amount of grain you want to feed your nation in spite of climate change. That we have done, and we are now food secure. Secondly, we have been importing our wheat from Ukraine, our fertilizer from Russia. Now that side is problematic. So we decided to say we need about 240,000 metric tons of wheat. So how many hectares do we want under irrigation to grow wheat? And we calculated and put that number of hectares under wheat. We are now wheat sufficient. And we believe that next season we should be able to export wheat. We got the fertilizer which we are getting from Russia. We decided to find out what makes fertilizer. We discovered that because of the colonial mentality, we thought fertilizer was produced elsewhere. We have the materials in the country, and 3-4 months ago we've begun producing our own fertilizer. Fourth, it is necessary that we harvest water. So
34 African heads of state and government, along with scores of ministers and international partners, came together in Dakar to mobilize investment and move forward plans to harness Africa's immense agricultural potential. Technology is key to transformation. Many of the presidents at Dakar too said that technology was key to increasing farmer yields across Africa. Although 60% of the world's uncultivated arable land is in Africa, smallholders would not need to cut down forests if they were able to increase the productivity on their existing farms. In furtherance of the administration's commitment to conserving the nation's heritage and splendor, the meeting considered a raft of programs and policies designed to accelerate climate change adaptation within Kenya's terrestrial and aquatic ecosystems. As the onset of the short rains approaches, October-December, Cabinet was briefed on preparations for seedling distribution under the National Landscape and Ecosystem Restoration Strategy 2023 to 2032, which aims to plant 15 billion trees. Cabinet acknowledged with appreciation the growing partnership between the public and private sectors in advancing the tree planting campaign. In that regard, and in an effort to further deepen the partnership from the grassroots, Cabinet directed the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change, and Forestry to establish a more robust framework for community-based forest associations to further empower local communities in forest conservation efforts. In furtherance of the administration's commitment to conserving the nation's heritage and splendor, the meeting considered a raft of programs and policies designed to accelerate climate change adaptation within Kenya's terrestrial and aquatic ecosystems. As the onset of the short rains approaches, October-December, Cabinet was briefed on preparations for seedling distribution under the National Landscape and Ecosystem Restoration Strategy 2023 to 2032, which aims to plant 15 billion trees. Cabinet acknowledged with appreciation the growing partnership between the public and private sectors in advancing the tree planting campaign. In that regard, and in an effort to further deepen the partnership from the grassroots, Cabinet directed the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change, and Forestry to establish a more robust framework for community-based forest associations to further empower local communities in forest conservation efforts. State Department for Performance and Delivery Management. The State Department for Performance and Delivery Management is domiciled at the Ministry of Public Service, Performance and Delivery Management, created under Executive Order No. 2 of November 2023 on the reorganization of the Government of the Republic of Kenya. It is one of the two state departments in the Ministry of Public Service, Performance and Delivery Management, the other being the State Department for Public Service. Enhances your problem-solving skills. Educators encounter many challenges in the classroom, such as managing student behavior, adapting curriculum to suit the needs of individual students, and learning new technology. Nevertheless, possessing the toolkit of critical thinking skills empowers you to assess these challenges objectively and develop solutions that will change these problems. Stimulates your curiosity. Critical thinking can stimulate your curiosity, igniting your desire to dig deeper into concepts, theories, teaching methods, or other subject matter. It can inspire you to expand your knowledge and craft as an educator. By asking questions of yourself or your students, you are fostering an environment of curiosity and lifelong learning. Balanced, nurturing partnership between teachers and parents. Teachers' skill developments. Farming curriculum focuses on 5 sense application and learning and mental health. Bringing students into the school farm can be an easy connection to these curriculum areas. We've seen teachers connect school farm activities to home economics, arts courses, English courses, maths courses, and everything in between. Get involved, love working with kids? Provide hands-on assistance by becoming a school garden champion. These amazing volunteers serve as mentors, help organize and lead garden projects, and work side by side with our youth. Subject matter experts, such as farmers, master gardeners, dietitians, arborists, apiarists, entomologists, and others who can provide mentorship and instruction to teachers and students, are encouraged to participate. For H uses a curriculum based on STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics to teach sustainable agriculture and food security. How can food gardens improve food security for people in local communities? Community gardens provide access to affordable, nutritious, and diversified local food that can increase food intake, smooth consumption, and represent savings, enabling households to purchase foods that they do not produce and other household essentials. Community gardens connect with vibrant local communities and economies to create a space for people to meet and share knowledge, learn new skills, and harvest in a harmonious way. These activities encourage interaction between diverse people in passive recreation and gardening pursuits. Homegrown school feeding (HGSF) constitutes a school feeding model that provides safe, diverse, and nutritious food, sourced locally from smallholders, to children in schools. What is the Homegrown School Feeding Program in Kenya? Kenya's homegrown school meal success means a brighter future. Homegrown school meals provide diverse and nutritious food sourced locally from small-scale farmers. Funds are transferred directly to schools, where committees of teachers, parents, and community members then purchase fresh food from local suppliers and farmers through a competitive bidding process. Kenya Agricultural Marketing Strategy 2023 to 2032. This strategy focuses on increasing market access competitiveness of locally produced commodities in both the domestic and international markets. In addition, the strategy aims at improving the income and livelihoods of value chain actors through 9 identified strategic areas with actionable strategies. There will come a time when only those that know how to plant will be eating. Chief Oren Lyons. If you like African food systems content, please subscribe and share our channel with your friends and family. Or if you're new here, hit the subscribe button so you make sure to never miss our weekly presentation podcast. Agriculture is tool to create health, wealth, shelter, protect environment, food, nutrition and basic skills development for our local communities. The local farmers are generally unwilling to change their traditional ways of planting and harvesting their crops or to experiment with the introduction of new plants or animals. Mijikenda includes Giriama, Digo, Chonyi, Jiruma, Jibana, Kamb, Korma, Rabai, and Ribe sub-tribes, and some of the Swahili Arabs are still using the same agricultural practices that have been employed for hundreds of years ago. It is estimated that about 65% of the population is food insecure at one time or another during the year. Out of this, some 2 million people out of a total population of over 33 million are food insecure and permanently depend on relief food. This figure usually rises to 5 million people during droughts. These people who live in absolute poverty are estimated to be of the rural and urban 53% and 49% population, respectively. National governments will promote cost-sharing and commercialization of extension services for value chains and actors able to pay for the services. Ensure that national programs have an extension component. Provide conditional grants to the counties to enhance extension service provision. Support funding of public extension and advisory service targeting the vulnerable. Promote private investment in agricultural extension. County governments will implement cost-sharing and commercialization of extension services. Increase resources allocation and disbursement to public extension services. Support private sector investment in agricultural extension. Put in place mechanisms for cascading down the funding of extension services up to the ward. Kenya 2030 Vision for Agriculture. Focus on productivity of agricultural enterprises, policies for land use and natural resources management, e.g., expansion of irrigated land for agriculture, market access and improved supply chains, and added value of agricultural exports. Integrated agroecology, socio-economy, spatial methodology and policy analysis, climate change and variability, agroecology, arable land and water resources, productivity and sustainability, food production and trade, food security, rural population, agriculture and rural livelihoods, rain-fed agriculture and climate change mitigation, rain-fed agriculture and climate change adaptation, water harvesting, training and development. How to prevent soil erosion, stopping soil erosion via sustainable farming practices. 2. Protecting the soil by planting windbreaks. 3. Stone walls to prevent soil erosion. 4. Reforestation helps protect soils. 5. Conservation tillage and soil erosion. Some of the greatest effects of soil erosion include loss of topsoil. Obviously, this is the biggest effect of soil erosion. Soil compaction, reduced organic and fertile matter, poor drainage, issues with plant reproduction, soil acidity levels, long-term erosion, water pollution. What are the biotic and abiotic components of the grassland ecosystem? The abiotic factors that are found across temperate grasslands are rocks, rivers, soil, lakes, climate, and rainfall. The biotic factors found across temperate grasslands are mammals, bison, deer, antelope, arthropods, scorpions, grasshoppers, different types of grasses, lily, wildflowers, goldenrod. What are 5 characteristics of grasslands? The following are the key characteristics of the grassland biome. Vegetation structure that is dominated by grasses. Semi-arid climate. Rainfall and soils insufficient to support significant tree growth. Most common at mid-latitudes and near the interiors of continents. Grasslands are often exploited for agricultural use. Moringa is one of the most drought-tolerant trees and does well in hot weather with minimal water needs. The rate of absorption or assimilation of carbon dioxide by the moringa tree is 20 times higher than any tree. Coupled with the sandy soils in the area which are not fit for agricultural production, moringa has proven to withstand the soils and the hot climatic conditions. Kilify Moringa Estates, KME, is an organic certified company in the business of growing moringa trees and producing products such as moringa powder, tea, and massage oil from the leaves and seeds. Moringa powder can be used as a food supplement to treat ailments such as diabetes, high blood pressure, skin disorders, indigestion, anemia, and aids in faster healing of wounds. Investors can easily invest in moringa health, moringa processing, moringa-based feed production, moringa marketing and export, and moringa cosmetics. The typical products that can be made with moringa include moringa capsule, powder, oil, beverages, tablet hormone, chocolate, lotion, soap, and so on. No organoleptic differences were found between milk from the control treatment and the moringa silage treatment. The conclusion is that moringa silage can be fed to dairy cows in large quantities to produce the same quantity and quality of milk as traditional diets. Moringa is rich in nutrients and biologically active compounds, and thus has great potential to be used as a supplement in livestock feeds.
procedure for mass multiplication of waste decomposer. The waste decomposer could be mass multiplied by a simple technique that is practically applicable to the farmers. This protocol is standardized by Krishan Chandra in 2015. Take 2 kilograms jaggery and mix it in a plastic drum containing 200 liters of water. Then take 1 bottle of decomposer, 30 grams, and pour all its contents in a plastic drum of 200 liters containing jaggery solution. Avoid direct contact of contents with hands. Mix it properly with a wooden stick for uniform distribution of waste decomposer in the drum. Cover the drum with a paper or cardboard and stir it every day once or twice. After 5 days, the solution of the drum turns creamy. The farmers could prepare the waste decomposer solution again and again from the mother culture solution by the addition of 20 liters of waste decomposer solution into a drum with 2 kilograms of jaggery and 200 liters of water. So, again it would be ready in 7 days.
The juice from fresh moringa leaves can be used to produce an effective plant growth hormone, increasing yields by 25% to 30% for nearly any crop: onions, bell pepper, soya, maize, sorghum, coffee, tea, chili, melon. Add 1 tablespoon of moringa powder and add to a little water and mix in a blender. If using as a foliar spray, you will need to strain through a cloth, or it will block your sprayer. Add to 3 liters of water and you have a liquid moringa fertilizer. There will come a time when only those that know how to plant will be eating. Chief Oran Lions. If you like African food systems content, please subscribe and share our channel with your friends and family. Or if you're new here, hit the subscribe button so you make sure to never miss our weekly presentation podcast. Agriculture is tool to create health, wealth, shelter, protect environment, food, nutrition and basic skills development for our local communities.